Well, hello. Hello. Yes, I'm back inside. I need a moment to shift gears. Doing some early morning coaching, such good stuff. Such good stuff. And the funny thing is that you don't even know that I was supposed to be here at 7 o'clock in the morning, did you? No, well, if you were on the Destination Decluttered email mailing list, there we are. We got a good connection. I'm live. There we go. And I don't see anybody showing up yet. There we go. Keep going. We're letting more viewers know you're live. I'm alive. All right. Well, this gives me a moment to then do this. There we go. Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, let me just double check here. And here we go. So it's just you and me. It's interesting. There we go. Okay, I see. It's early yet. I know that. It is early. But I had this scheduled for the people on the mailing list. You know when. I get to also check me out, you guys. I don't just do this and say you do. I don't do as I say, not as I do. But I have my roadmap for the day. I've already hit one of my milestones. TikTok Live around 7 a.m. is another milestone. I have all sorts of good stuff going on today and some time in between it. So, interesting. Couldn't find your live. Well, here I am now. There's technology, and I'll be honest with you. Abbott Elementary, I went a smidge over. I was doing some coaching, and as you know, my clients are the number one thing. So I will hang out with a client. I rarely do this. I try to be mindful of time, but sometimes you don't know when insight is going to hit. And I love my clients so much that I will hang out with them as they get their insight, even if it means showing up later for people that aren't paying for coaching. But here I am now. Here I am now for you with that same kind of goodwill in my heart to help you with what you're struggling with. Anybody, this is what I do. And I enjoy doing it. It is not a bother to me. I willingly created my career as a decluttering life coach because I know what helped me kind of get decluttered, not just in my house, but like in my life. And excuse me, I'm taking my flip-flops off. And when you feel better, you do better. That's all I can say. Humblebee, good morning. When you feel better in your body, in your mind, with your words, you show up differently in the world. Even if just to nobody else. When I'm walking around the house, bopping around in the morning, looking around and everything's in place and I'm feeling pretty good and I've got a map of things I'm doing for the day, it makes me feel good. Even if I'm not even interacting with anybody else. But then if I interact with somebody else, I'm more likely to be like, hey, what's going on, person? Wave to the neighbor. But if I'm feeling crappy, I tend to do crappy. You have a choice. You do. You have a choice about what you think in your head. And what you think in your head makes you feel a certain way in your heart. And I say your heart, but I mean like your heart, your gut, your human, your animal nervous system, your feeling, like feeling tense, feeling relaxed, feeling sick to your stomach, feeling overwhelmed, or feeling pretty good. Feeling 7-Up, I'm feeling 7-Up. Now that's a double whammy. I will share with you. That's a double whammy. I'm like footnoting my my Gen X pop culture references because that is I think a 7-Up commercial from like the 70s or something. But I'm always referring to the Repo Man version of that. If you remember, Otto worked at the grocery store. Remember generic, when they had like bran flakes, cereal, all that, and his goofy kid who was, pricing the stuff. Feeling 7-Up, I'm feeling 7-Up. I'm feeling pretty 7-Up today, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I did realize, and notice what I'm doing, okay? Notice what I'm doing is I'm realizing things that are making me uncomfortable, and I'm doing something about it. Right now, I have kicked off my flip-flops, and I just took off my hoodie because I was feeling a little bit chilly this morning, and I feel warmer now, and so when I feel better, I'm doing better. So how are you feeling this morning? If you're feeling good in your head and in your heart, that's a wonderful place to start and make your plan for the day. Maybe to make your plan for a week, a month, a year, sitting down with yourself and saying, hey, life, here we are on the road. Where do we want to go today? What's going to be fun? What's going to add to the joy of my life, the delight of my life? Now, sometimes those things that add the joy in the life aren't necessarily wicked fun. It's not like, let's go to a carnival is different than let's empty out the dishwasher. But you know that having a dishwasher that's empty is going to feel good to you because then your clean dishes are allegedly going to be in the cupboard. So when you go to find a dish for your cereal, that you know what cupboard to open and that there's going to be a clean dish there. It makes you feel good. It's easy to eat your cereal in your home when you know where the spoons are, when you know where the cereal is, when it's a cereal you like, when you know where your bowls are and your bowls are clean and they're put away so you can easily get it. I love to talk about how just basically decluttering makes your life easier. It's not just about looking good on the surface. Looking good on your surface is a component of this, but really it's about making your life feel and function easier. Now, I love an easy life. I love being able to find what I'm looking for like that. I love being able to easily get it out of the cupboard, easily use it, easily put it back. Same thing with, like my closet here, is easily opening my closet, knowing what I have in there, easily fits, so I have some space between the hangers so I can do that kind of, oh, do I want to wear that? Do I want to wear that? Now look, it's a tiny closet, but it's the right size for me because I tend to wear the same clothes over and over again. And you know why? Because I'm happy with what I have. I am enough. I have enough. I don't have too little because for a while there I had lack. I didn't have enough. And then I bypassed. I didn't know what enough felt like. So then I bought too much. I bought too much. And then I realized, oh, wow, I thought if this feels good, it's kind of like eating bacon. Anybody ever do this? I got myself almost sick to my stomach eating too much bacon once because I was like, I get to eat as much bacon as I want. And it feels so good. I'm going to eat it. And then I was like, yeah, this is great. This is great. And then I was like, oh, God, this doesn't feel good. And then it had ramifications, let's say. So clutter is the stuff in your life that's just in the too much category. When you knock down, when you slowly remove the too much, what you're doing is you're kind of excavating, you're sculpting, you're whittling, you're removing what isn't what you want. And then what you're left with when you're like, no, I like how this sculpture has turned out. What was that thing? I think I like this little life. Remember that was on TikTok like 6 months ago? Now it seems like an antique. But you know what? Creating, sculpting a life that feels good to you, part of it is taking a block of clay that we're all starting with. And sometimes we think we're adding things to make the life we want, but it's an addition and subtraction type of thing. Okay? It is saying, this is my block of clay. Which parts make me feel good, which don't? Removing the bits of clay. I am imagining myself in my 8th grade junior high school art class. I wish I could remember her name. It's so funny, the teacher. But there's ways that you can sculpt a life. Your life is a creative expression of who you are. Your life is ideally all of what you want and very little of what you don't want. And you can change that anytime. You can change those percentages by noticing what you don't like and easily, quickly getting it out of your life. Noticing stuff that you might want and you maybe grab a piece, oh, that might be interesting, putting it on there and seeing if it fits. And if it doesn't, quickly and without drama saying, nope, that didn't work for me, and removing it. Kind of like me just removing my hoodie. Oh, this is making me feel too warm right now and I don't want to feel too warm. I'm going to easily take it off even though it exposes my soft, cuddly arms here. Notice how I'm talking about my body that's gained 20 pounds in the last 10 years. I'm talking about myself lovingly. My soft, huggable, cuddly human body versus beating myself up about being old and flabby and all that. feeling comfortable in your body, in your brain, in your life is part of the decluttering life coaching. It's all wrapped up in the same block of clay called your life. So I say this to you as encouragement, to give you the courage. I don't want to discourage you. God, I've had enough discouragement in my life. But man, do I feel better when I have a little bit of courage. When I say, hey, you know what? My life, the way I want it to be, the way I want my sculpture to look, is just as valid as your life. You do you, I'm going to do me. And that shouldn't be any difference. I'm not harming you, you're not harming me, of course, that we start with no harm. But what do I want my home to look like? What do I want my clothes to look like? What do I want? How do I want to feel when I'm wearing those clothes? Can I feel strong and powerful showing up on TikTok at 7 o'clock in the morning, wearing a t-shirt with no bra, wearing no makeup as a woman who's going to be 58 years old in like a handful of weeks? I don't even know. Or do I need makeup? Do I need a tight-fitting, structured dress and some high heels to give me that external feeling of power? You can tell how good I feel about myself and the fact that I don't really care what I look like on social media. I do this strategically because I want you to have a role model. Now, I'm not saying, hey, everybody, don't wear makeup. What I'm saying is you are okay the way you are. And when you feel that way, you're going to feel better about yourself. And when you feel better, you're going to do better. Okay? Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. When you feel good, you do good. This is how I'm at. This is where I'm at in my life. I wasn't always this way. No. And did I show up for other people? Of course I did, because I've got a big heart. And usually the way I would show up with people, I would be compassionate about things when they were talking about family relationships and stuff. But boy, is helping people with their stuff. The acquisition of it, the deacquisition of it, the arranging of the stuff, that's my wheelhouse. That's my love language. So that's why I show up as a decluttering life coach. So Jazz Mittens with a Z. How can I catch up on my home when my hubby has ADHD and does not put anything away? So, couple of things. First of all, and trust me, I live with people with ADHD. I probably have some of it myself, so I know that world. But what I want to say is before your husband thing is check on yourself. How are you with your habits? Are you putting things away? When you learn the methods of decluttering that work for you, the things that remind you to put things away, you can better inspire other people. Maybe not instruct. You can share info that's worked with you. This is what we're doing right now. This worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. But what I want to share with you and for everybody here is, I should have had another mug. Love. Love for yourself. Curiosity for what's going on and how you deal with your stuff. Love for your husband to understand that he's wired differently and he may keep those things on the kitchen table. My husband, I have to lovingly remind him of things like that all the time. I try not to get frustrated about it. And I also try to ensure that I'm not telling myself that he's doing it maliciously. Notice how the thoughts in your head can make you feel a feeling. I can see a pair of, stinky boxer shorts hanging out on the floor and think he's doing that to piss me off. He knows that it belongs somewhere else and he's not doing it because he knows how much it bugs me. Notice how those words in your head that come out, even notice my feeling. You can hear it in my voice when I decide to think that way. That makes me feel crappy right now telling the story. It will also make me feel crappy when I go interact with him. I notice that. Now, I'm not perfect at this, you guys, and neither will you. Do not try to be perfect, but just notice those things, because when you notice these things, you have the opportunity to change what you do. So when I tell myself stories that make myself feel crappy, what I say is, hold on, what can I do to make myself feel better? And how I feel better is to back it up and go to my head and say different words. You know what? I am not taking it personally. What are those? The 4 agreements? Do not take things personally. He is not doing that to gaslight me or piss me off. He is just a distracted person that isn't as important as it is to him as it is to me. But if I point it out to him, he will correct it. He will do it. I won't do it for him because I want him to notice that these things that are put out are going to bug me. But when I show up in love and hey, I don't know if you forgot, but your stinky underpants are here on the floor. And I have to correct myself. When I say, could you do me a favor? It's like a kind of a stock, kind of like, I don't know, there are these phrases that we use, but like, hey, could you please pick up your stuff? Coming at it with love for yourself and your husband versus pissed offedness basically just allows you to feel better in the moment, and it will get you the results you want with the least amount of drama. Okay? So this is how I run everything through this process. This is scalable. This is copy and pastable to many areas of your life. Okay, yes, and Abbott Mullinax is saying, yes, when you feel better, you will do better. It's so true. So start with the feeling better. Feeling better. I just realized. It's like, no, it's not a lump, people. I went to the gym yesterday and I realized I moved a muscle I hadn't moved before. Okay? So Ria says, I have an inspection coming up in 2 days. How can I calmly declutter? Breathe. Breathe while you're doing it. Check yourself. When you start to get all sped up, quiet it down. You've got this. Every little bit helps. I'll give you some of the things that work for me. First of all, yes, checking in with yourself and feeling better physically in your physical body. This will also, your brain is part of your physical body too. Breathing down, quieting down, calming down. Quieting down what I call your backseat driver voice. Oh my God, they're coming. What if we fail? It's going to be awful. Blah, blah. Shh. Lovingly quiet down that voice. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to focus on the things that they're going to look at first. I used to do visual merchandising. We would always know you did the things that the customers would look at first. As you got to the back of the store, it was a different story. What are the things that the people are going to be looking for? Inspection. I have a plan. I have a plan. Notice how that feels good. I have a plan. I am going to write down the things that I know they're going to look at. I'm going to write it down so I give my brain a rest because I don't have to rely on it up here. I can just write it down. And now I have a map. A plan is a map to go from point A to point B. What are the things I need to do to get to destination, past inspection? What are the little milestones? What are the states? What are the cities that I drive through to get from here today? In 2 days, I have to get to here. And what's my destination? Notice when you are calming down your body and you feel better, that's when you make the plan. And the very first thing you do is you determine what you're going for. You're not going for, I bet you're not going for your house looking perfect in all areas. Seriously? You only have 2 days. You need to be really strategic. There's strategy behind this. Okay, Ria? You look and say, what do I need to do to pass this inspection? And you start with those things and you make sure they're taken care of. And you do it in a way that feels good to yourself because you're like, I want to pass this inspection. It's going to feel so good when I pass this inspection. I am actively doing things so I pass this inspection. But also please notice while you're doing that and while you are decluttering yourself, because this is a two-pronged process. This is a two-step. This is a dance, okay? Decluttering isn't just about knocking down the stuff that's accumulated. It's getting curious about why it accumulated in the first place and changing those habits so it doesn't pile up again. All right? So that, my dear, is how you do it. Work with your body first. When you're in a better state of mind and heart, head and heart, then get your hand, calming down, quieting down, chunking down, writing down. All these downs are going to be really helpful. Okay? So notice those things. Okay, Trainer Karen, I get anxiety and freeze when I have too many choices. Welcome to this world we live in. Same thing happens to me. I get overwhelmed by too many choices too. This is when it's really important for you to know what is important to you. Now, it could be something as easily as I know what cereal I like, so when I go to the grocery store, I don't look at anything else. I just go and buy my bran flakes or whatever. Notice it's going to help you get out of anxiety, feeling anxiety and freezing. Now, the fun thing is about anxiety, would you ever think to hear anybody saying the fun thing is about anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling in your body that is caused by external stimulation, but also, oh my God, the thought of there's so much here. I want you to think of when you think there's so much, when there's too much, when there's overwhelm causing you the anxiety, I want you to think of that word down. This is what helps me. Over is over here. You want to go from here to down. So calming down, quieting down, chunking down, and saying to yourself, okay, it's like a shopping list. You make a plan before you go out into the world that has so many choices. You get your body moving too. You calm down and you quiet down, and then you shake off, as Taylor Swift would say, shake it off, and then say, okay, what would I rather feel? I want to feel like I'm going to get what I want. And I write a list, a shopping list, a wish list. When you have too many choices, you choose what you want and you write it down, and you keep focusing on that when you go to the grocery store. So you get what you want. You know what you want, and you go in to get what you paid for, and then you get it. But notice you got to work with the anxiety first. And your goal for that is so you don't feel the anxiety, feeling the anxiety in your body anymore. You don't tamp it down. You don't ignore it. Fine, whatever, I'll just go and do it. Shh. That just creates problems later. Feel the feeling. Allow yourself to then feel control in getting the feeling out of you, whether it's tapping, whether it's breathing, whether it's just calmly quieting down, whether it's shaking off. There's all sorts of things you can do to dissipate. Look at me, I look like Ann Miller in Blue Sky, smiling at me. You can dissipate that energy so you're not feeling so anxious when you're like, okay. And then from that point, you say, I know I have a bunch of choices. What's the one that's going to make me feel the best? Okay. Southern Girl is asking, why do I have to overthink every single item as I purge? How about this? You don't have to overthink it. Maybe you're in the habit of overthinking it. Notice there's no thinking, overthinking, just right thinking. Who is it? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Too hot, too cold, just right. Too soft, too hard, just right. There's no thinking, which is probably how a lot of us got cluttered. We weren't thinking about what we were doing. And then you say, oh my gosh, I'm overthinking all this stuff. No, you need to think. If you don't want to think, I'm not your person, because boy, am I a thinker. Thinking gets you the life you want. Overthinking, though, is when you're thinking, but you're not doing. So look for the things that you are easily able to purge, that you're not overthinking, where you can immediately say and feel, I don't need that anymore. I don't even need to think about it. I know that there are certain things I don't need anymore. Start with those, Southern Girl. Get yourself in the habit of saying, I can do something about this. This is where I will hopefully, this is my life, hopefully, I will introduce to you kind of the 3 layers of clutter, the 3 levels of clutter. On the very surface, you have surface clutter. That's typically the stuff you don't even need to think about when you go to declutter. It's the stuff that you, without thinking, you know that goes in the trash, that goes in the recycle, that goes where it is, where it belongs. That's the stuff that I easily don't know I don't want anymore. I can easily put it into a recycle or a trash bag or a donation bag. Surface clutter. The next level down is stored clutter. Stored clutter is stuff that you've saved and it's behind doors and drawers, saved clutter. Now that level of clutter is going to require you to think, not to overthink, but to think. And what you're going to be thinking is you're going to be using your brain and your heart to think. And you're going to look at an item and say, do I want this or not? I may have wanted it in the past. Right now I'm always looking at the calendar, Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, people. What? Do I want this thing now? How does this thing make me feel? If I wanted it then, do I want it now? And will this fit in with the future that I'm building, that I'm creating? Will this fit into my Barbie dream home? If I can't answer a question that feels good to me, if I'm like, I don't know, maybe I set that temporarily aside and I go to the next thing. And then you don't have to overthink it, but you do need to think. And not just up here, but please get your animal human body involved in the thought process because it's involved anyway. Allow it to speak up. Speaking from your heart. You know what you want here before you can ever formulate the words up here. Trust your gut about your stuff and give yourself permission. I am giving you permission to release what does not work for you. And that's scalable. That's from, clutter into other areas of your life. You are allowed to let go of what isn't working. Maybe it never did. Maybe it did for a while and it isn't. You can make a decision of what you keep in your life and what you let go. And when you know you have that power, that you're not helpless, that you just have to take what you want, man, does that wonderful feeling of control in your own life have a positive ripple effect. Okay? I hope that helps. Okay? I'm going to work backwards a little bit here. I'm scrolling. All right, Dandy Soapbox, music. I play music and make a plan. Now, funny thing is I like quiet. It's how my brain, I like to hear myself think. I enjoy my own company. Maybe because I was a fairly independent kid. I really enjoy the words I hear in my head now. Now, back in the day, it wasn't always. I was distracting myself. I didn't want to hear what I was thinking because it was usually something negative. But nowadays, because I have worked on myself and I've gotten coaching and I coach all the time, and I know it feels better to talk to myself more kindly, I practice doing that. I like coming up with ideas. I like inventing things. I like creating things. Creation happens up here and in here. And when these two are on board, when you move your hands, that's when you're creating a world you love. Okay? Dandy Soapbox is asking kind of a technical question, which I love too, because it's not just about, it's the combo of the life coaching and the decluttering. Do you suggest putting all the same colors of clothes together or by season to declutter? I say I think this is the most helpful, and I want to be the most helpful and the easiest. I say color irregardless. I wear all black, so all of my black clothes would just be black clothes. If they were all one color, there's a better way to categorize these things. Right now, what we're doing to put some framework around this so you see that there's a process, is there stored clutter. Your clothing is stored clutter. Clothing, when you're doing stored clutter, what you need to do is categorize it. So the categories I recommend, name of, categories of clothes, pants, shirts, dresses, boots, sandals, tops, coats. Those categories allow you to see what you have in that category, and then that's when you can then make the decisions about quantity, quality, color, that type of thing. So yeah, that's what I would recommend versus just colors. Okay. Now I know these things because for decades I was a professional visual merchandiser. I was an art history major, so I know a lot about kind of the way things look, but also kind of a technical aspect, a process engineer. A lot of things I fell into helped me see processes that could be cut and pasted. So notice where you have categories. You have categories in your stored clutter in your kitchen. You have categories in your bathroom. Wherever you have clutter, you have categories. Putting them in piles of like items together allows you to make a decision, not on all of it, not on the overwhelming all of it, but just for the stuff that's in front of you, because you have all of your t-shirts in front of you. So then you can say to yourself, do I need all these? Do I want all these? How many do I have? Oh, look, there's a trend. I went through a trend of wearing black t-shirts with white writing on them. I have a lot of those. Do they still feel comfortable? Do I really need these? Did that fade? That's when you need to hear yourself and you decide. You have the power of deciding what you want in your life and what you don't. Okay? All right. So LA6437, since COVID, spouse now works from home all the time, have felt like I can't get anything done. Now notice this. I like to play with words because this is the only way we can communicate here. However, oh good, this is wicked funny. I will get to that in a minute, but I just remembered. Tonight, you're on top of the world and you can't get any higher. You're on top of the world. Sorry, My husband is literally in the midst of creating a song that has a refrain of tonight. The reason I bring it up right now is tonight is the Destination Decluttered members only email list monthly group Zoom. I bring that up because that's where we actually get on a Zoom call and we can talk versus just typing. So if you're on the mailing list, it's tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. When you're on the mailing list, you know how to sign into the Zoom. If this sounds curious to you and you've got some time tonight and you want to sign up for the mailing list, it's free. Just go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com. There's a form there right at the bottom of the page. Tonight from 8 to 9, we hang out and we do kind of what we do here, a little taste of coaching, okay? But notice, that's why I got back to the words. I have felt like I can't get anything done. But notice this. I feel like I can't get anything done. Notice the feeling. But it's really words in your head that's causing you the feeling. I have the words in my head. I can't get anything done because my spouse now works from home. Now, COVID, it's crazy to realize that we are 4+ years since the origins of that. While it's still happening, our lives are not crazily impacted as they were, but there are some ripple effects. What can you do? Why? First of all, I would just get curious. This is coaching, is allowing yourself the space to get curious about your thoughts and just say, are they helping me get the life I want or not? So as a coach, I tend to ask questions because I am genuinely curious. What is it specifically about your spouse working from home that makes you feel like you can't get anything done? I mean, you're obviously getting something done. What are the things you feel like? And notice what I'm doing is I'm asking questions in a loving, curious tone. I'm not being judgy. But also, we're going to get specific. What are the specific things you feel like you can't do because your spouse works from home? And you don't need to answer that in the comments here. What I would say is, whatever comes up, write it down. Notice, writing down is another down. Get curious. But notice the interplay. Please, you guys, there's a framework here. I'm going to step back. Between the words in your head, make you feel a feeling in your heart, and the head and the heart are what make the hands move. The hands are either sitting there doing nothing, or they're hanging on to stuff, or they're up doing stuff and moving things and allowing you to create stuff. So just get curious about that. All right. All right. Layla's got some clothing and items that are still in boxes. Whoops. I just backed up. I went, boops. Okay. I love it. Strong Silver Soul Sister. I canceled an order for shoes I didn't need while on this live, and I feel good for it. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Okay. So I'm trying to get to everybody. All right. Started during lockdown. Notice these things, you guys. We have habits. We are creatures of habit. Creature of the night. We are creatures of habit. We have habits. You guys, do not underestimate the fact that during COVID, we adopted habits during that time that may not be serving us with the way our lives are now. Okay? Now, Lila says, when I try to declutter, I end up making more of a mess and wanting to keep it. Okay. You need to, there's a process you can learn. One of the things I will offer to everybody is during the decluttering process, just like baking cookies, it will look temporarily worse before it looks permanently and feels, it will look and feel temporarily worse before it looks and feels permanently better. It's like, oh my God, I've got these ingredients all over the place and this stuff and nothing's combining and it's not working. Do you move away? Do you just leave your cookies on the thing when the egg is there with the egg is there with the flour and all this? No. Work through the process and you'll notice that it gets better. If you run away from it, it's going to work. You're never going to get decluttered. You have to go into the process, and seriously, you got to make decisions. Decisions is going to require you going inward, into your head and into your heart, and making decisions and noticing. You can decide on what voice you listen to in yourself. Is it the one that's like, no, hang on to that? Or is it let it go, let it go? That is up to you, but you have to be willing to do that. Okay? So notice these habits you have. Okay? Notice these things. Yep. I would, buy things during lockdown. Notice when we are, as humans, in a state of lack, when we are in fear of not having anything. This is what happened to people in the legit Great Depression in the 20s and 30s. They legit didn't have stuff. So that's why even after that, even though after there was abundance, they still felt like they needed to overbuy things. I am a product of those generations. I grew up with people raising me that were like, no, hang on to that. You might need it someday. Many of us were. That's the situation we're in now, but our world is different than it was 100 years ago. You know, we can buy stuff online. We can have stuff shipped to our house. It's a different world, but internally, we're still coming from a 1930s feeling of lack, of a COVID, oh my God, I need to always have some toilet paper because I never had toilet paper and I never want to be without toilet paper again. Wasn't that what's her face in Gone with the Wind? I will never be without toilet paper again. You know, but notice the habits you have. When you have your habits, when you notice them, you have the power to look at them. I don't know, I got this thing right here. Look at that. Is this something that I want? Is this habit helpful? Or do I want to let it go? And the ball is in your court. You can decide. Okay? Yeah, I feel like I need to overbuy, but notice overbuying, kind of like overthinking, is too much. Overbuying and overthinking is in the too much region. What you want to do is you want to buy. You want to think. You don't want to underbuy. You don't want to have nothing. You want to have the right amount. And the right amount is going to make your life easy because it's going to be easier for you to move around your house when you don't have as much stuff. Okay? So Kim Marie is feeling so stuck in my head with my house feeling unorganized and can't enjoy the things I want to do. All right, stuck in your head? Let's get unstuck in your head. What's got you stuck? Everybody. I am confident in saying this. The thing that's keeping you stuck is a thought in your head, is words in your brain that when you hear them and you say them, it makes you feel a feeling. You're either encouraged or discouraged. You're either in motion or you're stuck. You know, it's something of the interplay. So if you are stuck, if you are overwhelmed, first of all, the overwhelm is a physical feeling. So work on that first. Calming down, slowing down, quieting down. Get yourself in a place where you can start to feel better. And when you feel better, you're going to do better. Now, once you feel better, if you're like, legit, I don't know how to declutter a house, this is why I'm a decluttering life coach. Because it's not just about one or the other, it's the both. There's a process, there's a method, there's a strategy that you can use that you just maybe never were taught. Maybe you were never taught how to drive a stick shift car. There's a way you learn how to do this. It's getting somebody who knows how to do it, shows you how to do it, then you go and practice yourself. That is the mechanical version of decluttering and getting in the habit of doing different things. But part of it is even just showing up to do that. You have to feel ready to do it, and you have to be ready to think and make decisions and act upon your decisions. Don't just stay up in your head. Thinking only works when it's paired with action. That's the only way. If it just stays up here, it's like a book that never gets written, or artwork that never gets painted, or a relationship that never happens. Because I always thought that person was cute, but I never said hi to them, and then they died. You know? Okay, notice the lack. Notice the fear. Layla is saying, I think, I'm afraid. You're thinking the word, I'm afraid that I'll never have it again, so I'll keep it. Notice fear. Okay, I want to be really clear about this because this is powerful, simple stuff. You have, on the one hand, you have fear. Fear is a header. Fear is kind of the uber category of fear, lack, afraid, embarrassment, shame, discouragement, all that unhelpful shit. Just put it under the framework of fear. I am afraid that if I let this go, I will not have it again. That is lack mentality. However, there's another side. There's, on the other hand, you've got love. Love is the opposite of fear. Love is trust. Love is confidence. Love is calm. Love is kind. Love is never boring. Remember that thing like when people get married? Love. Security. Safety. Not even abundance. Abundance and just satiety. Having enough. When you think from that side of your brain, you love yourself. You want to calm your brain down. You want to feel good. Hanging out on this side makes you feel better. You can flip from one side to the other. When you're in the negative, hop on over to the positive. Okay? Notice this. I love it. Fast nickel or slow dime. Love it, you guys. So much good stuff going on. But please notice this. You know, you have a choice. You have a choice. You have the power to choose. Make sure you keep that power. And I'm getting a little bit more global. Do the things that still allow you to have agency, to make choices for yourself, and then use that power to continue that. Because when somebody else chooses for you, they're going to choose what's best for them, not what's best for you. And right now, you have the power to decide what side you believe in, fear or love. Fear keeps you afraid, keeps you hanging on to things you don't want. Fear is just hanging on. I'm afraid that. If you weren't in fear, if you were just cool, you were just, nothing's going wrong, everything's going right, how would that feel? How would that feel to not have the fear, to not have the guilt or the insecurity or the overwhelm or the anxiety? No, that's all over there. We're living over here, people. You're welcome. Come on over. Hop on over. Every time you have a negative thought, you can flip it over and hop on over to the more helpful, the loving side of the pool. We got this. I can do this. I'm going to do something. Love is on the side of action. Fear, fear is controlling you when you're not doing something that's helping you get to where you want to go. You're probably doing things that are keeping you stuck in the same habits. Overeating, overbuying, overwhelmed, thinking negative thoughts, going ba 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 ba. You're like a hamster on the wheel. You can slow down your hamster wheel. You can step off that hamster wheel. It's your choice. Okay? Yeah. Layla, I love that you have the self-awareness about things, but you get to, I love it. It makes me feel good to be able to open packages, and yet you have the little crying emojis. Notice that it can be complicated. Sometimes we do things to ourselves that we think are going to make ourselves feel good. It can be a feel good in the short term that makes you feel worse in the long term. It's like when I decide to eat an entire bag of Fritos for dinner as opposed to having, salad and some protein and some water. In the short term, it feels good. Yum, num, 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 num. Later on, or as I said earlier, I got issues about food, about eating bacon. I'm going to do this. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do this. I deserve, blah, blah, blah. But then it makes you feel crappy. You have a choice. Choose the thing that makes you feel good in the short term and more term in the long term. We're not rewarded for long-term thinking in our society, though, so notice where they make it easy. Oh, just grab this. You don't have time. This is easy. This will make you feel good. You deserve a treat. You deserve a break today at McDonald's. I deserve a break. I'm going to McDonald's. Even though you eat the cheeseburger and it feels good for a while, but then you're like, ooh, I feel kind of gooey. So I know right now there's a lot of activity here, and I'm missing some of the things you guys are saying because it scrolls by me so quickly. I just want you to know I love hearing the interplay between people, okay? So I love that you're helping each other. This is what it's all about. It's not about you shutting up and listening to me, talking from my podium and whatever. It's about me giving you just some stuff to think about, some ideas to chew upon. To be like, oh, how does that? Oh, I never thought of it that way. It's you helping somebody with your ideas. This worked for me. Maybe it was collaboration, community, helping each other. This is what worked for me. I show up and I say, this worked for me and it works for my clients because I do one-on-one paid coaching. This is what I do. Maybe this way of thinking is going to help you. Okay? So know this and take it to heart. Seriously, take it into your heart and into your head and allow these things of ways of thinking. Please, if I've done my job right, you will then transform your head and your heart into stuff you're doing with your hands, which just to me is taking action, which is donating the stuff you don't want, which is signing up to vote, which is, stopping people when they're treating you with disrespect, which is starting to love yourself, taking action in the framework, under the header, under the umbrella of love. That's what's going to change your life and the world. All right, so I am just backing up here to see if there's anything. There we go. I love it. Somebody's an empty nester, saved favorite kids' clothes for quilts, and so excited I found somebody to do it. I love it. because I am not a crafty person. I thought I was going to be. I truly thought I would. I bought all the craft stuff. I collected all the craft stuff. You know what I didn't do? I didn't do the crafts. It was fun to collect all the ingredients, but then I didn't want to make. I just wanted, this is me with cooking too. This is just how I'm wired, and it's totally okay. I don't want to do the process on certain things. I just want it done. But I will share with you that decluttering, you could pay somebody to come and neaten up your house. But they can only do a certain thing, because decluttering is decision making. And only you should be deciding about what you keep and what you let go. Only you should be deciding where those things go once you keep them. I could do it for you, but I'm going to use my method, my sense, and it may not make sense to you because it's your house. Okay? So notice that sometimes you can pay somebody to do something for you, but this is why I got into coaching versus the traditional decluttering person who comes to your house, is I know that I don't have to be in your house to help you change your life. And when I think that way, notice that thought. That means, I have clients all over the country. I'm in Pennsylvania right now. In 11 minutes, in 10 minutes, I'm going to sign off because I have a client in California. She shows up at 5 a.m., my 8 a.m., because she knows that us working together is changing her life. Notice the thoughts you have make you feel a feeling. What does that feeling make you want to do? If it makes you want to shut down, notice that's probably from from hate, from fear. Hate is under fear, but fear is always that one, fear and love. Okay? You get to choose what side you're on. Is it going to be the one that makes you fearful, or the one that makes you love? And when you show up in love, you do better. Okay? Notice these things. Okay? Now I love this. A little bit JK is saying, I had a woman come organize my kitchen cupboards, and they've remained so for 3 years. Now that's great. Sometimes having somebody come in your house and give you that jump start allows you to then just change your habits and maintain it. I think that's wonderful. I do not disparage anybody who hires a coach that comes into their homes and who hires somebody like that. And the people who do that. I am part of the National Association of Professional Organizers and Organized People, or whatever. And there is a value to that. That's not what I do, though. And I'm cool with what I do because this allows me to reach more people. Look, right now, I don't know what state you're in. I don't know what country you're in. But because of the way I coach, I show up on Zoom and TikTok all the time. I do TikTok lives pretty much every day. If you want to watch more of them and you want to know when they are, you get on my mailing list. I share the thing with you. This allows me to reach you up here and in here. And that, to me, is where the change happens. I could go into your house and do it for you. I don't want to. I've done that for people before, and it's not scalable. There's many ways you can do it, but you know what? You decided to maintain what that person did. You made a decision that you said, I like how it looks, and I'm going to do the things to keep it that way. You know? Yep. So notice this. It's easier to be creative when not cluttered. Yeah, it's easier to be everything when you're not cluttered. It's easier to live when you're not cluttered. When you're creative, when you're not cluttered, and your stuff is away, you can easily just get into that zone of creativity because you're not distracted by all this other stuff. You know exactly where the tools of your creativity are. My tools of my creativity are my thoughts. Am I writing them down or typing them or literally just making a video and sharing them? And I can do that because I've made it easy. My phone is charged because I know where my charger is. I know where my little stand is to put my phone on. I have gotten used to these things. Okay? Yeah. There we go. Thriving Guam style. I'm not good at it. Nobody says you need to be good at something. If you enjoy it, that's good enough. I love to pour painting. I need to do it more often. Yeah, getting decluttered means that you have made space in your home and your life for the stuff you want to do. You know, is it going to take you a half an hour to 2 hours to clean off a surface for you to do your creative projects if you're doing crafts? How about this? How about always having a space clean so immediately when the mood hits and creativity hits, you know where your stuff is and you can do it? Yeah. Now, Dandy Soapbox, I'm a DIYer and I struggle at times with keeping for projects or letting go until later. You get to decide what you do and when you do it. You. I am always going to be you get to decide. Right now, you have the power to choose. You are choosing. You are choosing to listen to me or to scroll on by. You are choosing. Every day today you make a choice, you make a decision. You choose to spend your time doing certain things, or you choose to spend your time doing other things during that same, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. thing. You have a choice. Now, sometimes we have made the choice to say, well, 9 to 5, I work. I chose to have a 9 to 5 job, so during those times I work. You have a choice. You can do something different, though. With maybe you can't change your job right away, but you have a choice in where you spend. Where you spend your time, where you spend your money, where you spend your energy, physical energy, mental energy. You are in control of that. I think that's powerful. I want to remind you of the power you have to create the life you want. And it starts inside, in here in your head and in here in your heart. And when these two are working together, your hands are going to be creating the life you want. Okay? Cat Mama, I love it. Put her on YouTube, lives on. Yes, so my TikTok lives are recorded. They are uploaded to YouTube. Now, I'm going to be a sucker for the mailing list. Mailing list people are able to watch the most current ones first. They are hidden to everybody else who's not on the list, but when you're on the list, like we say in the rock and roll biz, when you're on the list, you get to go backstage. You get perks that nobody else does, and it's a free mailing list. DestinationDecluttered.com. So I'd throw that out there. Yep. And if you choose to sign up for my mailing list, I say thank you by giving you all sorts of things. The Zoom tonight, all sorts of good stuff. It's on my website. I don't want to spend this. Okay. I love this. Kara, I'm catching up on some of these things. Showed my dad the family letters I found in the stamp collection. Very exciting. Yes, there is excitement and treasure hunting to be found in your decluttering. Kara and I have been going back and forth because she had stuff that she thought was saved for stamps. She found out that they were letters, family letters. So she and her dad now are having a bonding experience, a mutually shared exciting experience about researching their family tree. This would not have happened if Kara did not decide to declutter. If Kara did not decide to see what she had that was in her home and get curious about it and not just dump it in a dumpster. This is why I love decluttering, because there's treasures in your home. There's probably also crappy stuff that makes you feel bad. You want to get the treasures and hang on to them and do something cool with them, whatever that looks like to you, but also remove the stuff that smells bad, the stuff that makes you feel bad. Decluttering is giving yourself the opportunity and removing what you don't want, so all you have left is what you do want. Okay? Notice these things. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I started with the oldest YouTubes. Can't remember when I found you. Some older ones are 2 hours. Yeah, that was around like March of last year. I had never done a YouTube. I decided to, I had enough modest followers on TikTok to do a TikTok live. I had never done a TikTok live before, so I went on for a long time. Then I realized it didn't make me feel good to be there. I was getting hoarse. I had to pee. So now my tradition is to just have them be about an hour. Okay? There we go. Annoying ASMR. Just found really old coins in my decluttering of old stuff from my in-laws. Okay? Notice this stuff. Then what are you going to do with those coins? I've done it. I found some for my dad. I found somebody to sell them to. I made money from the coins. Sometimes a penny is worth more than a penny. Sometimes a penny is just a penny. Other times it can be worth hundreds of dollars. My husband and I were decluttering his stuff down the basement. We found stuff that we had forgotten that we had put in a tote when his parents passed, and we found a bunch of coins. We then were able to take those coins that were worth more than their face value to a coin guy. The coin guy gave us more money for those things, and then we were able to share the money with his brother. When you declutter, you can help yourself and you can help other people. Okay? I love it. My son and I are having fun. My son and I are having fun because you decided to declutter. Yeah, trying to figure out how much they're worth. I did that when I had my dad's coin collection. My nephew, who's now 18, came over and visited. I can't remember how old he was. It was 7 years ago, maybe, so 11 or thereabouts, and we sat at the kitchen table, and we categorized the coins. Pennies here, dimes here, quarters here. Categorizing. Categories, people. It's how you declutter. And then you notice, what decade did these come from? Does that have a wheat or the wheat thing on the back, or does it have a building, or does it have a buffalo? You notice the patterns, and then you can make decisions on them. Okay? Notice those. All right, now I'm seeing back up, and I think somebody said something about Erin, and I always like to say hi to Erin because she's a client. Yeah, Beth lives rent-free in my head. Why, thank you. It's like an Airbnb. I love it there. It's a great place, Yes, and Christine, Beth helps with the stuff behind the stuff. I think I was trying to write that on my website recently. But yes, it's not just about the surface. If you don't want to go, and I like to be really clear about this, because if you don't want to go below the surface, I'm not your man. I'm not your man, says Tommy Conwell. But if you want to go and figure out why you're doing the stuff you're doing, and you want to stop the stuff that's not making you feel good, and you want to start the stuff that makes you feel better, let's get in the pool. I will hang out in the shallow end a little bit, but that's only because we're going into the part where we learn how to swim. I like to go deeper because that's where the real magic happens. That's when you notice that you've got voices in your head that are causing you to do something. Which voice are you going to listen to? Because the voices in your head are the things that get your arms moving. Fear gets you doing one thing, but love for yourself, for the world, for other people, for just love, opportunity, belief, loving yourself has a positive ripple effect. Hating yourself and having fear has a negative ripple effect. You're going to be more crabby to a cashier when you're feeling crabby, but when you're feeling good, you're going to smile at other people. The world is going to open up for you. The world shuts down when you're in fear. The world opens up when you're in love. Now, speaking of love and fear and all that kind of stuff, I love that I have my one-on-one clients. If you want to be one too, check out my website. I have a client I'm about to meet with. This is always awesome to hang out with you guys. I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible 12 hours from today at the Destination Decluttered Zoom call if you can make it. If not, no worries. We do one every month. DestinationDecluttered.com. All right? That's where you sign up for the mailing list, and I will see you tonight. All right? Boop. Boop. You got this.